Alright, here's a quick video on how to animate a character. So we've got our character here, this is our cowhand, and we've got it rigged. So this is the rigged version that you can download from Brightspace. So the bones and armatures are there and tied to the rig for this. And then we're going to start animating this, so we're going to switch to the animation mode up here. For this. Now once I've got there, I'm going to shift and move this into focus here and click on this, and I'm just going to switch from dope. So this is my animation stuff here, and so instead of dope sheet I'm going to switch to animation editor, and in animation editor there will be different animations we can save and use for this character, and we can see those. And then like these are animations that like we can import into Unity and things like that. So by default there's a walk animation already in here. Let's see, I've got to switch this. Okay, so I had clicked on the mesh, but I want to click on the bones because we're animating the bones. So click on one of the bones. I'm in object mode here, and then switch this, select your walk animation, and then this should just show the animation. And again, this shows the bones, and then this view up here you can kind of rotate around. And then we can play this animation if we want. Okay, so that's animations already set up, so that's one of the animations, and you can see it is clicked here. This means it's saved. What happens with these actions is that they're not tied to something in Blender, they can be overwritten or deleted. So this just makes sure that even though because we're not using the full Blender system for this, we're just creating these actions to bring into Unity, and then we'll do the animations actually in the coding in Unity. So we just want to make sure that's clicked when we want to save an animation. Okay, so now we're going to create a new animation. Let's do an idle animation. So I'm going to click this new action. It'll call it walking 001. I'm going to switch that to idle. And so I've got that selected. Now I'm going to set my animation. I'm going to just go into pose mode here and kind of stay in pose mode. Now I'm going to reset him to a standing position. So you can go to animation, select, and reset all. If you have one bone selected, that won't work, so make sure you have all the bones selected, and then clear and all. That should bring them back to the standard standing position for us. This might not be great, so I'm going to, and then I already, because we had an animation here, it creates, the keyframes are still here. So I'm going to click on, if I click on, so the summary keyframe will select a whole row here, and then if I hit keyframe delete, it'll delete that row. Hit delete keyframes, but there are lots of rows here, so I'm just going to click one of the top row ones, one of summary, hit A to select them all, and then go keyframe, and then delete keyframes, and then say yes, delete keyframes. Okay, now I'll go back to 0. Again, that might reset the pose, so I'm going to go back here, clear the pose back here. Okay. Again, I want them posed a little more naturally for the first element. I'm going to, oops, my menus aren't more opened up here, so now I'm going to just click on that little arrow to open those up, rotate this down a little bit, and then maybe rotate this one down just a little bit. Same here for that. Okay. So I've got them standing here. I'm going to make sure I select all the bones. So I'm going to click on one bone, hit A to select all of them. And I'm going to mark a new keyframe. Now, before I do this, I'm going to go into key. And right now, by default, it's just done as scaling. So if I hit insert or hit a new keyframe here. So if I go to key, insert keyframe, it pops up this menu, which isn't the right one. I want it to ask me what I want to save. So if that's what's popping up, I want to make sure I go to keying, and I want to get rid of this here. So now it won't default, and it should ask me what I'm going to key. Oops, I clicked off everything. Hit a bone, hit them all. And again, now I can go here, but I'm going to keep my mouse. It seems like my mouse wants to be in this here to get this to work correctly. So I'm going to keep my mouse in this frame, and I'm going to hit I to insert a keyframe. And then I'm always going to choose this locate, rotate, scale option, and that'll set all those bones up. So that's my first position here. Now I'm going to move maybe in 10 or so. And I'm going to do something different. Maybe this arm will go down a little bit. Maybe this arm will go up a little bit. Maybe we'll have him sway back and forth a little bit. I'm going to kind of exaggerate him here so we can see that he's actually doing something in his idle mode. Maybe we'll have his foot kick up a little bit here. We have some inverse kinematics set up here, so we have some problems with his feet. I'm just going to have him lift up his foot a little bit. Let's try that. Yeah, okay, so he's doing something. So again, with ups, I have to make sure I have them all collected and hit A to select all the bones. I should see my first keyframe here. And again, with my mouse over this window, I'm going to hit I and select this one. So now I should be able to go back and forth and see him moving back and forth. I'm going to go to 20 and do some other movement. Maybe we'll move him back here, rotate. I'll rotate him back a little, maybe over rotate him a little bit, move this arm up a little bit, maybe move this foot back down a little bit. Okay, so there's a new position. Make sure we have all the bones selected, bone A for all, and then again, mouse over here. So yeah, mouse over this window and hit I to insert keyframes. Oops, let's try that again. I'll hit I and then select that one. Okay, so here's my motion back and forth. Now I can play this. Now at the end he kind of jumps back. I really want to just take this 0, 1 and copy it, so I can move my cursor over there. I can hit Control C to copy those keyframes. Oh, I think I have to click on this top keyframe. Copy, move over here to like 30, and hit paste to paste in those keyframes. So again, I selected this top keyframe and then I could paste those. Now we should move back and forth and then go back to his original pose. So this will be a better loop for him to go. Okay, he's just doing his little dance move here. Okay, so that's my animation here that I have. It looks like at some point I lost the name of this. So I have one called idle, and this was called armature action. So I'm going to rename this idle 2, I think. And then I'm going to save this here. Okay, so now we should have a walk animation, which should be walking. We should have our idle animation, which I called idle 2, because at some point I think I reset the pose and that reset this, and I wasn't paying attention. So this should be the idle animation. Just moving back and forth. Yeah. Okay. Let's do one more animation in Unity. The models have 3 jump animations: a jump start, an in the air, and a jump land. So I'm going to do the jump start kind of animation. So again, I'm going to create a new action here, give it some name, jump start. And I'm going to set this. Oh, I'm going to delete all these ones. Click on one of the top ones, hit A, and then do key, delete keyframes. Okay. Oh, and go back here. I want to be in my jump start one. Okay, all my keyframes are deleted here. Okay, and I'm going to get them started. So we're going to start in this default mode actually here as my first frame, and then we're going to pretend to jump from here. So I'm just going to select my bones, hit all, and do I to insert a keyframe and do that. Okay, now I'm going to go down here at some point and then do another animation. I'm going to have them bend down a little bit. So let's say I'm going to grab, where's this middle bone here, and just move them down. Because I have inverse kinematics, his knees should bend when I do this. Like that. I can move his arms or something, but let's just do that for now. Again, Now, since I'm only moving this one bone, I could just set a keyframe for that. But again, I'm used to doing all the bones and hitting insert and doing that. So he starts here, bends his knees, and then now he's going to jump up here. So when he jumps up, we're going to send him up. Oops. Don't actually want to move him up. I just want to move. Oh, I have them all selected. I just want to select this one bone. So you might think with a jump animation you want him to move up, but we actually like do that in Unity. We'll do this motion. So I don't want him to actually move up here. I want him to stay in the same spot but go through the animations of that. So I'm going to move his arms up here. So he's kind of going to be jumping up in the air. Okay, and click on a bone, hit A for all, and then hit I to insert that keyframe and hit location, rotation, scale all. Okay, so he starts here and goes and jumps up. So again, we can count on Unity to then start moving them in the right direction, adding velocity to this model. But this is just the animation for him to jump up. So it's kind of like jumping in place in this case for this. Okay, so again, that's saved. I'm going to save that. So now I should have my walking animation, which was originally here. I should have an idle, which I called idle 2 here. There's some little dancing moves here. And then I should have my jump start animation. Okay, those are my animations. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this as a different version. So rather than saying rigged, I'm going to call this cowhand animated. There. Okay, hope you enjoyed this.